Now the more we go in and cultivate then, the more we beat it up, the finer the particles we make, the smaller the pore spaces get. Until we get that thing beat to a pulp, and if we have a lot of clay in that soil, we can really start getting those pore spaces filled in. And we lose the ability for water to go down through it. Obviously, the bigger the holes, the more readily the water is going to go down. So if we have a wheat straw sticking up there, you know, it makes a heck of a nice big hole for water to go down through. If we just have pulverized soil with no organic material in it at all, those pore spaces get closed up pretty fast with that. As water hits that ground and starts to settle that ground, and we all know how water will settle a trench if we go out and dig a trench and fill it back in and pour water on it, how it just all of a sudden it sinks. Lots of us have had to go out and trench and put in a water line, maybe on a golf course, and all of a sudden you go out there to mow it 4 or 5 days later, and where you had backfilled that trench, all of a sudden there's a little dip in the grass because that water has settled it down. And also when we dig up a piece of ground, we destroy all that pore space that's been built over time by nature, and when we backfill it, we compress it in, and we don't have those natural voids, plus we've lost the soil, the strength of its natural structure over a period of time, and it almost always is going to fill the hole, and you're going to wonder, well, where did what happened? Did I lose some of my soil? Well, no, you've taken the pore spaces out of the soil by compressing it when you backfilled it, and that was 30, 40, 50% of the volume. And you've eliminated most of it because you compress it. You tamped it in, tamped all the pore spaces out of it. So you have to go find some more fill to come in and put on top of your ditch to get it up to the level that you started with. So that's what ends up happening. Now, we had a rare occurrence out in our baseball diamond. The second year irrigation class just put in some pipe, and the holes we dug out there, when we put the soil back, we actually ended up with more soil than we started with. Because when we wetted it, that soil had enough clay in it that it expanded. And on a baseball diamond, you do have, they put a lot of clay additive into the soil to give it the kind of plane surface they want. And when that clay does get wet, clay will expand when it gets wet, certain kinds of clay. And this stuff does. And we all of a sudden had too much soil in the holes we had, which is very rare occurrence. I mean, how many times have you gone out and dug a post hole, put the post in the hole, refilled it, and still didn't have enough soil to pack around the post? You know, if you had a really good developed soil with really good porosity, that can happen. Because you could have a soil with 50% porosity. Dig a post hole, put a little post in there, pack the dirt back around it, and you still didn't, the post wasn't 50% of the total area, or volume, excuse me. Maybe it was only 30% of the volume and you had 50% air in there. You've pounded all the air out of it when you tamped the post in. You don't even have enough soil to backfill on the post. So that's what's happening. You got soil that has well-developed pore spaces. And that's excellent because it gives places for the water to go. We want soils that have high porosity. And that's the word they use is porosity.